Hi, I'm Dr. Shu from Animal Medical Hospital, and today we have our friend Lacy. She is a silver lace Wyandotte coming in today. Her pet parents noticed that she's been limping at home, so we just did her physical examination and we noticed that her claws, her claws seem to be a little bit overgrown. So today we're going to actually trim her nails. You can see that a little bit overgrown right there. And this obviously affects the way that they're able to grip when they're perching. It affects them if they're trying to get through the dirt and they're cleaning, trying to find grubs or any worms. So we want to make sure that she's comfortable. Since she's here today, the other thing that we want to check on is we want to feel her keel. We want to see how much breast meat she has, make sure she doesn't feel underweight. Also want to take a look at her vent because she is a laying chicken. We want to make sure that her vent looks nice and clean, which it looks like it needs a little bit of cleanup today. I know, she's a little bit stressed. She is a backyard poultry member of our friends here in Pasadena. The other thing they asked us to do today is to trim her wings. The reason we do that is because we want to make sure that they're not able to jump the fence, get into neighbors' yards, or even escape. For our chickens here in Southern California, it's important that they have an area to roam, but also that they're penned up overnight because we do have coyotes. So if we have chickens that are free roam, we want to make sure that we do clip their wings so they're not able to jump a fence. But overnight, they have to be penned up because of the coyotes or raccoons that they don't want to necessarily be friends with. Also here in Southern California, we do have areas where we have pockets of avian influenza. So it's important if you do have a backyard that's quite spacious to have areas that chickens can be covered. Avian influenza is spread by our local wildlife and birds, such as duck and geese that are flying through. They can then get your flocks infected. And we want to make sure your flocks stay very healthy. Okay, so let's go ahead and start maybe with her wings today. When we find their wings, we want to find their two definitions between their primary and their secondary feathers. When you are trimming their wings, you want to make sure you're only trimming one side so that they feel unstable when they're flying, so they won't be too interested in, again, flying the coop. So you don't need to trim both sides, you only need to trim one side. Usually they'll go through their fall molt, which means that they'll start losing their feathers. And when they go through their molt, in the springtime, they'll grow their feathers back. So typically I will cut their feathers once a season, usually in the springtime. We're just using scissors. These are our bandage scissors that we can use on their feathers. And again, I'm looking for their primary and secondary wings. I'm just gonna cut right here, okay? And that's it. If you cut too far down, you will hit a blood vessel. So you want to be careful with that. And if you do hit a blood vessel, if you're not at a vet clinic or if you're at home, if you have some flour, you can put it directly onto their wings that are bleeding. If it continues to bleed and it can't form that clot, please do seek veterinary care, okay? So now we're gonna go ahead and trim her nails. Let's see what she'll do if she's just standing here. What do you think? Is that gonna be nervous for you? Can you do that? Okay, so you can see these are her claws, and this one is definitely overgrown, so much so that it's actually twisted, okay? And when they're coming in, we're also taking a look at what we call their plantar aspect of their claw, making sure they don't have any bumblefoot or any blisters on this area. If they do, that affects their ability to roost. Being dirty like this is natural, that's normal. But having overgrown nails, we definitely want to trim those up for them. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and trim them. Similar to that of mammals, they have quicks. So we wanna be careful not to trim it too far back. You can see that I'm kind of going just very little at a time. And if you do get the quick, we'll just have to stop that bleeding. Once you trim it down to a certain length, they'll be able to scratch on the ground easily and they'll be able to maintain it a little bit better. All right, so we'll do a physical. What I do with my stethoscope. Let's take a listen to her. Oh. Sounds good. And then when we do a palpation of their abdomen or their coelomic cavity, we're feeling into their belly, trying to see if we feel any fluid waves, any masses, any discomfort or pain. She feels pretty good. All right, Lacy, Looking pretty good. And I think she's 4 years old this year. Oh, you're looking so good. Yeah, you're looking so good. So Lacy actually is turning 4 this year. She is a pandemic chicken, so she came in 2020. Our lifespan for chickens on average are about 5 to 7 years, depending on how their husbandry, their environment, predation, if there's any predators like those coyotes. Sometimes they can live up to 5 to 10 years. A lot of times people will keep chickens not only for obviously company, but also because of eggs, right? Because they provide eggs, which is a nutrient for humans. When they get older, usually they are laying as early as maybe 6 months, and they will lay, depending on each particular breed, sometimes 3 up to 7 eggs per week. But as they get older, so after 3 years, their egg production will decrease. So dependent on your flock, sometimes people will get new chickens for their flocks, or they'll keep them until they're senior chickens. So just be aware, in case you're noticing that your egg production is dropping, always ask, how old is your chicken? It might be natural. But don't worry, you're gonna stay with me, Lacy.